Hello everyone, I just want to add a little intro to this video. Yesterday, it's the video I had done, one video, and I thought it was long, so then I added I cut it in half, and I added an ending, I think, to the one yesterday, because I had touched on something at the end there, so I wanted to, reply more on it, and today I'm adding to the beginning because it's kind of cut off halfway, and so from where I originally, it's here I'm speaking a little bit about, I don't know how I got from one conversation to the other because it was one video, but when you're just trying to put it out, little by little, it just, I don't write nothing out, I just come and start speaking, but it's a little of how it began, the years of confusion, and then when I first cried out and opened the book, and how I also said in it, how I believe that's when the seed was planted. That's when I heard the truth. I heard, and now everything that I heard in that promise, there were certain promises made when I first heard, and now, these many years later, I understand, and they have all held true. And I have a greater understanding just now, when I was thinking about coming to reply a little bit more in the beginning of this video before I post, another great understanding has come. But I'm not going to say it yet, not right here, and it is really hard to speak the things of truth, and I just want to hear on YouTube, for those who can't hear, you will say every good word, and they don't hear any of the goodness. They don't hear, they only are looking for something they can speak against. That's because that's what you are filled with. And the salvation is when that is purged from you. And that work is being done today. There was a beginning of salvation, work of salvation, and an accomplishing of it, of fulfilling, of seeing it. And every word that I say is backed up in the scripture that you think that you know. So keep speaking against me, because it's not me you speak against. You can say every good word. And then all they're thinking of what's in them, so they reply from what's in them. And that's selfish. There's a whole world. Do you not think that that how many need to hear a good word, and you're only thinking of yourself? The hurtful and wickedness rises from the heart of man, from what you are filled with. And I'm not going to continue to reply to the contrary ones, to the hurtful ones. That's not why the testimony's been done and given in me. I'm not here to strive with you. I'm here to give a good word that others might receive. You say you believe, but when you see salvation, when someone testifies, this work has been done in me, you speak against them. You're not speaking against me. So anyway, and I'm just going, so, because there's some, and they'll go and they'll sneakily look at your videos. And I know they do sneakily look at the videos. But they're just looking for something, that they can speak against. But I'm going to start cutting off. As soon as you make a wrong comment, I might reply once, one more, you're done. I'm just going to block you. Because I don't like your comments corrupting my channel, my videos. Because you're corrupting those who might come to hear a good word. And then you're tainting it with your own wickedness and evilness that's coming up from your own self. I have been prepared to come and speak. And nothing is about myself. It's not about me that I speak. I have dealt with the wickedness my whole life in this world. And I have kept silent. And it's because my heart wouldn't bend to it That's why these things have been done in me. Because I believed in what was good. And he that is good. But anyway, I'm just talking a little about, how, and if you don't call this humble, to be spit on, everything that they have spoken in the gospel to let you know has been done to me. I'll say even manhandle, because, when I was choked and my head beat up against the wall, it wasn't really hurtful, but, just when you give a good word and someone comes and smites you and casts stones, that's humbling. To be spit on directly in the face, that's humbling. That's man trying to humble you. But that humbleness is of man's works. But anyway, I'm just speaking a little bit about, when the seed was originally sown, when I first set my heart to knowing and cried after the truth and said, show me who you are. Teach me that I can teach my children and they can teach their children. Teach me. And that's when the book became alive to me. And I'm going to do a video explaining and then also having scripture that backs up my words concerning other writings. Just because it didn't make it into the book doesn't mean that there wasn't others who had experienced and been inspired of spirit. It says that if the work you don't understand what it means, if all things had been written, even the world couldn't contain, the Spirit works through man, through the inspiration of man. Or as the Spirit inspires man. That's the work that it's speaking of. And if all these things was writ, the whole world couldn't contain. You don't know the scriptures that you speak of. But I do know, because I set my heart to know, and it was given to me. And if you speak against me, it's not me you're speaking against. And I will just delete you and block you. I'm not here speaking concerning myself. I'm here speaking for those who will hear. And I have dealt with the wickedness and contrary and the hurtful my whole life. I have already overcome all that you could possibly do and speak against me. So here's the beginning of my testimony. And I do love you all. Bye for now. Even the contrary ones. But I do want to go and say, when I looked and all this, and that's when my other brother had talked about how he believes when the seed was originally planted. The seed, the word was originally planted in him. And I had got the same thing back when I first opened the book. I now understand, I now believe that's when I heard that calling, and when I sought out that truth, and when I said I was willing to die for that truth, when I heard it, that was when the seed was planted. And now my whole life, that seed has been germinating and going through the seasons, and now it is in season. But I'll tell you another story too. But when it happened and I looked for someone to help, and I had my mother-in-law, my husband spent that, and I wanted to continue that the day that, because when I first received, I can remember thinking, why am I receiving? I only had the faith, but I did not have the understanding I have now. That's, that seed was planted in all that confusion. When I cried out, that's and these things began to be shown to me. The truth was shown. I tasted the truth. But I'm getting off. Where was I going with that? So many things. I'm kind of getting off a little bit, but I want to tell this because this was a part of it. Maybe I should go back to something triggered the thought of why I wanted to finish this, telling this experience. But let me gather my thoughts a second. Let me just try to finish it. You know, I don't know how long it had went on, and I had no one to help me with what I was hearing. You know, and here you are hearing the truth, all the contradiction in you and all the contradiction from, you know, those around you. You couldn't accept. You knew it was true. You know, but why you? Why are you hearing this? You know, I thought, have I been here before? Why am I hearing this? Who am I? And I know there's others. When you hear the call, but it's only now that I understand. You know, it's now, because and I was told I would come to understand all things. I was told I would go through a great trial, because that spirit that's in the Bible is the same. There's one spirit, and all who will become of that one spirit will go on that same journey. That's why the writings, I write not these things because you do not know the truth, but because you do know the truth. And no lie is of the truth. There's so much to the writing. There's so much to how salvation has been worked that man doesn't know, that I know in part. And I know I do know things that there's very few who have understood. And that's what makes it hard for me to speak. But nothing that I know is of myself and of any righteousness of myself. My righteousness is of faith. And how the Spirit has worked, because the Spirit was true. The Spirit was true. The one that promised me was true. And that's what kept me going through all these years. The one that promised me I knew was true. And I had set to the seal. Those who have heard have set to the seal that God is true. And I knew I was sealed then. I had believed I was sealed. You know, sealed with faith, sealed with that through that work of Spirit, that first, when the seed was planted. You know, I don't like going back, but because so much is so, you know, hard to say, but hard to speak, but I had no one to help, you know, and you know, I told you what my mother-in-law said. I don't know why you even pick up that book. You ain't got no Holy Ghost. You can't understand that book, you know. And how here I was knowing what I'm hearing, and she has no idea what I'm hearing. But here it is, she was supposed to be holier than me, and her people was supposed to be holier than me. They were supposed to be the ones to do it. Who am I to hear what I hear now? And they was letting me know, who are you to hear what you think you're hearing? And then my ex-husband, you know, when I told you how he choked me and looked me in the eye with disgust, said some, you know, pretty negative, disgustful things towards me, called me the devil, Beelzebub, and spit in my face. And that's where I want to continue from there, because after all this contradiction that happened after I had received that seed, that truth, you know, I was left. I can remember after Brian did that, he went upstairs, and I was just so confounded about everything, you know, and I was doing my dishes. I don't know how long it was, and I was sitting there doing my dishes, just so filled with just, you know, not understanding what was going on with me. And there was more to my experience. That was when I saw the man on my bed sitting, holding open the book, the Jewish man. You know, that was, you know, part of my first experience. And I don't know how long it was, but Brian come down. I'm going to imitate him. I used to be able to imitate him better, but and he come down, and he's like, oh, oh, buddy. He's like, he was laughing. His little laugh, I'm not going to try to do it because I'd look too goofy doing it. I only imitate Papa in front of to the kids. But he come down, and I was doing dishes, just totally just confused of everything. And he said, you know, buddy, he's like, Papa was laying upstairs, and I was just laying on the bed, and I can't remember exactly. It was basically, you know, this, but he said, you know, I was laying there. He's like, and it's like the Spirit of God just filled the whole room. He said, it's like the Spirit of God just filled the whole room and let me know that he's the one that's with you. And he just wanted to come down and tell me that. He had just sit there and spit on me and called me the devil and whatever else. And then an hour or two later comes down and says, God filled the room. Let me know that he's the one working with you. And I can remember when he said it, I just was so thankful. I just praised. I said, thank you, and I just praised. I didn't understand then. I just praised God for what was just told to me. And but there was another thing then, and I don't remember if that was that same night or another. That must have been earlier, because that must have been the night the cops had been called after he choked me and spit on me, because it was hours later. And I remember that I was doing the dishes, and when he came down, so everything had passed and abated, but there was the night, and I'm sure it had to be that night, that after it was done, that cops was called, and the cops came, and whether the cops knew or not, I felt like I was getting a message from them, like for how they would speak to me. It was a male and female cop, and they pulled me aside and then pulled Brian aside, and then they'd come over to me, and I was trying to explain to them, I don't remember what I said, but what was happening with me, and how what he had done. And it must have been that night, because I was explaining something that he had done, so it must have been because he choked me and stuff. And he said, and I can't remember if it was the woman or the man cop, but I was telling him how what the Bible, what everything that had been happening with me. And she said, Nancy, and she or he, they said, I think it was the female, I don't even know anymore, but she said, but I knew they was both right there when it was spoken, both of the cops. He hasn't heard it yet. He can't understand, Nancy. He hasn't heard it yet. And that was her words. And when she said he hasn't heard it yet, I knew, I believed that message, whether that cop knew, I had to wonder, does the cop know what I'm hearing? Or was that just something that the Spirit moved on that cop to say that? Because, it's just so hard to explain, because she said he hasn't heard it yet. He doesn't understand. You can't, something like, you can't tell him because he hasn't heard it yet. And, I remember praising again when she said that. I remember praising because I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew that I was hearing what I heard in the book. You got to understand, this is after my first son. So, I was young. And, well, actually, maybe after Ben. So maybe it's not, I don't even know. Maybe it's only 20 years ago. Maybe it's only 20 years ago. I don't know. Time just isn't something I pay attention to, but, and then when I told Brian, afterwards, I told Brian what the cop had said. Oh, she's just trying to appease you or something, just, and she knows you're crazy. I said, no, Brian, that's not, what just happened there, but, so, then you go through your life and, just holding on to the good news you heard and not understanding, but you was told, you're going to understand in the end, and then you will speak. Even when I tried to speak to people then in my neighborhood, everyone wanted to hear, but something always told me, shut up, Nancy, you don't know nothing yet. You have to wait. You will understand, and then you will speak. And now I understand, and therefore I speak. And, and you are humbled to come and speak, because of those who call you prideful, they're the ones that's prideful, because in them, they're looking at you thinking, why does she think she, it's, I don't even know how to explain how it works, but who are you to say that, that this work hasn't been done, or who are you to say who I am, that this work would be done in me or not? I know what's been done in me, and I know in my whole life, I've never been a part of this world. I've tried to find my place, but I knew that that's not what my life was for. And the only thing I care about is truth going out into this world and to those who can receive. Because, see, no lie is of the truth. And man, what man has perceived and spoken in the name of God and Christ and Jesus, they have spoken lies. And none of their lies will come to pass. But every word that is of the truth will come to pass. And I know what's happening now. I know what's done in me. And I know how the word will work in others. I'm an example, just as Paul, and it's written as examples. All that is written will happen in all those who receive the Spirit and the truth, because it's one Spirit, one truth is eternal. And we are all partakers of one Spirit. Of that same Spirit. That's the work of salvation. And because man's indoctrination, their idols, their images, those are the very things that have to be cast out of you. Because when you are full of them, you have no room for truth to abide. You can't carry contradiction. It is you who is at adversity and against the truth. See, those who have this work done in them, we understand these things. Yet we're humbled when we come and offer the truth. But just as was written, although man does not understand the one speaking, and they hate me, they will hate you. They love me, they will love you. This is a spirit thing. This isn't what man has perceived. They have set images on things, on spiritual things. Man has taken the things of spirit and with their carnal understanding. See, that's the thing. And even through that, the carnal understanding has the letters been translated. But as those who have the Spirit will hear the Spirit through that translation. It is a great work. And even through falsehood, it is through that falsehood that I was made to see truth. Even through being filled with falsehood, that the truth entered and purged it out of me. I am only a vessel that the work has been done in. And all those who have this work done in them, you will speak the same things. You will show forth, because the truth always fits together. I am one vessel. The Spirit is one, but there's many, the vessels. All who the Spirit will fill with truth. Well, you are a vessel. And you have to put it forth how your vessel. We are each unique. And we each have our own experience of Spirit throughout our life and how this has worked in us. And we can only give as each of us are able. There is no righteousness in anything that I have done. I am proof of salvation. I am proof before what's been done in me is the proof that it was never of works. It was always of Spirit. The work would be accomplished through all that was spoken, through all things. That salvation was the word from the beginning. And salvation was what was being worked and would come to pass. The one that is, and that there's so many things being done as through Spirit, through what's written, how it is that the one son of destruction is the only one that should be, and I don't even want to say it like that, because there's so much more to it. There was never a chance of fail, because all that's happening now was the plan of salvation. And this is how it works. And some of us have this work done, so we see how it's done. And I hope something made sense. I have no boast in myself, because none of this work was done. I am only a vessel that has been, that a great work's been done in. And now I bear my witness. I give my testimony of what God has done for me, of what the Spirit has done. And I do love you all. Bye for now.